Well, good, Ali. I'm just kidding.
Alexander Void.
Today we're having a deep thoughts on Spider-Man, specifically Spider-Man in the movie universe. You know, Sony's universe, and now that he's kind of split with Marvel as well. So we're gonna go ahead and break down. Just give us our quick thoughts on the whole Spider-Man franchise as a whole, and where we think it's going, where it's been, and that kind of stuff. And we're gonna start with Spider-Man 1, directed by Sam Raimi, and starring Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, so this one was a weird theater experience because I remember I was just obsessed. I was just like, oh, they're bringing Spider-Man to the theaters. So I remember that I was late, I stood in line, and I went in and I was front row in the corner just looking at Spider-Man like this. And I loved it. I was still just like, I was in a terrible position, but I loved it, like everything about it. Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man from there on. That costume was amazing.
Yes, yeah.
And Sam Raimi, at that time, I didn't even know Sam Raimi who was directing it. Like, I wasn't I loved film, but I wasn't so invested in it as I am today. And I was like, this director, who is this? This writer, who is this? I need more of this. So, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was definitely a very special experience. It came out like in 2000, I believe. It was definitely a brand new era. It's maybe the beginning of, I don't know, you might want to consider like the silver age of comic book movies. You know, originally in the Bronze Age, we've had the original Batmans, the original Superman movies, pretty much everything before Spider-Man.
What about Blade?
I would throw in Blade in there. I'm not sure. I think those are after Spider-Man, so I'm not sure. We'd have to go back, but this was in that era of like the silver age kind of comic book movies and stuff. But it's still a very good movie. I still love the original Spider-Man. Some people really prefer Spider-Man 2. I don't know. I think that Spider-Man 1 captured Peter Parker's story. You know, it captured him as a kind of shy, I guess you could call him a nerd back then. Nerdy kind of kid who just comes across these kind of powers that he's trying to identify with, like, are these a blessing or a curse, that kind of stuff. But overall, I think that was the beginning where we got to see the potential for, everything else that would eventually come.
Yeah, I do remember X-Men before this.
Yeah, it's those two movies that everyone credits with kicking off like where we are today. Was because of those two movies.
Yeah. So next up is Spider-Man 2. So Spider-Man 2 is also Sam Raimi, also Tobey Maguire, also Kirsten Dunst, which is back. We lost Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Wait, did he pop up in this? Yeah, he was
just like flashback kind of things.
Okay, yeah, he was just in mirrors and stuff. So, your thoughts on Spider-Man 2?
I like Spider-Man 2. My biggest problem was Doc Ock because I'm such a big fan of Doc Ock. Like, I think he's probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villains.
Yeah.
I mean, he's over the top, and this Doc Ock just kind of felt over dramatic, in a way. It's kind of weird, but I know people love Spider-Man 2. I love it. It's a very of its time, like with the music, like the Nickelback music and stuff.
I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
It had this like 90s crisis kind of to it. It was kind of weird. You didn't really know what timing it was, but I don't know. It was just good. I mean, we were still young, kids back then and stuff, so it was fun. It felt like a roller coaster. It just was really fun. You got to see that they were really pushing the romance, though.
Yeah. That's where romance was actually a big thing. I'm one of the few people who actually say that Spider-Man 2 was better than Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
Like, Spider-Man 1, of course, was this event. It was this big thing.
It was, yeah.
Like, a lot of people hold on to the first because of that. It's the first time we've seen it on there. But as a movie, I actually liked Part 2 better than Part 1. That's one of the very few things where it's like the sequel's better than the original, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And because I like Doc Ock, because this is what got me into thinking, this is the animated series that I grew up with, the 90s animated series. I didn't watch the Amazing Spider-Man. I saw, I think it was called Spectacular. Was it still called? I think it was just called Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
It was still Amazing Spider-Man, that 90s one with that weird electronic Spider-Man intro.
Yeah.
Like, so this is what gave me that. And yeah, I like this one way better. I loved Doc Ock in this. He had that ugly bow cut.
Yeah.
The ending is still kind of weird for me. I still go like, it's a little too by the numbers.
Yeah.
Especially with Mary Jane. So I started seeing this like that because it wasn't that quirky comic book Spider-Man that I was used to at the time, where he's actually talking back and being like a snarky guy. He wasn't really snarky in this. So that's what gave me that 90s feeling, because the 90s feeling is a little more serious Peter Parker. It's a little more distraught Peter Parker. So I like that. So next up is the third one.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3, this is where most people credit where the whole kind of series just fell apart and stuff. Thinking back, I mean, it does have a lot of elements that pointed to why. My biggest problem was always the opening sequence. The opening sequence where he's trying to the new Goblin just comes in out of nowhere, and he's like, they're trying to fight over this like little. I mean, he's trying to fight him, but he's trying to get the ring.
Yeah.
I just never was a fan of that opening sequence at all. It was just too fast. It just threw you right. Here's a new enemy and stuff. Like what's. I mean, we knew his motivation and stuff, but it just felt like already there. It was too much. Right? It was just too much. Like it didn't feel like Spider-Man. It felt like now these actors were bigger than the movie itself.
Yeah.
It was like everyone came to see Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. This kind of love triangle that they have, and I didn't like that. It was much less about Spider-Man and much less about this kind of stuff. But my biggest other pet peeve was just the enemies. Although I love Topher Grace, I'm a big fan of Topher Grace. I wish he would do more stuff. His Venom it didn't hit with me at all, like on any level. Nor did Sandman, which sucks because I like Sandman as well.
Yeah. As for Venom, that's not Venom. That's a weird dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know, a dinosaur thing, and likes that 70s show. From there, I hated this movie because every time I think of Spider-Man 3, I think emo Parker. Okay,
I knew you were going to say the dancing thing.
That dance move, it reminded me of Fantastic Four. If you remember Fantastic Four, there was a point where he just
Miss Fantastic.
It was terrible.
It was
like so
this.
bad. It was just, why are you doing that? Emo Parker sucks. I like his suit, but everything else about it was just so dumb. But I guess that is a nerd paradise there. I think that if you were this nerd, if you were that Peter Parker opinion of a nerd, that would be what you would do. You would just keep going. Just keep. It was so much.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Terrible movie. I love James Franco. Too bad they messed up his face. Sandman. I forgot he was in the movie too. Brought it up right now. So it's just, it's bad. It is forced.
Yeah, it was a mess. There were so many sequences cut. Like the most famous scene that was cut was apparently this one where it's, I think, Sandman at a park, and I think Venom confronts him or something like that. And I think it's like what led to before them teaming up, because I think in the movie it was just like,
it just happened.
I think he just walks up to him and he's like I want to kill Peter Parker. That's
Me too.
And he's like, okay.
High five.
Yeah, it was just stupid. Like, you might as well just call him on his cell phone, But apparently there was a scene that got cut that I think it was Sandman in a park with Venom or something like that. It was supposed to be emotional. It was supposed to be deep. So I mean, I think Sam Raimi had an idea for what he wanted to do. There's a lot of scenes cut with Venom, for instance, and I think that again, it was Sony just sticking their hands where they didn't belong.
That's the behind the scenes behind this movie, is that Sam Raimi didn't even want Venom in here.
Exactly.
If I remember, he actually wanted to force Vulture or Lizard in this one.
He wanted Vulture for a long time.
Yeah, and then eventually, what was going to be part 4, he also wanted to stick those characters that he couldn't into that one. But in this one, if I remember, he wanted Vulture or Lizard, and they just stuck in with that. And I guess he's just like, okay, I guess this guy who should be Eddie Brock, let's just call him Sandman.
Yeah.
Because he was very Eddie Brockish. And then it's just, this movie was terrible. I don't even remember it. I hate everything about it.
Yep. So then I believe it was 2012. We got a reboot.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So it was. I think Spider-Man 3 was 2007, something like that. So it was about like 5 years after we got a reboot, which was kind of unheard of. Like, I mean, Batman used to take, but I mean, not necessarily. Batman took about like 5 years to reboot.
Oh wow.
It begins as well. Because I think the last one was Batman Robin, which was like 2000 or something as well. So
last one I remember is Batman Returns, because the rest don't exist.
Yeah. So it was typically about like 5 years for some of these franchises reboot, but it just felt very fast with Spider-Man, because we were still getting a lot of merchandise, we were still getting games, we were getting a lot of other stuff, and it's something we got. Okay, so we got now Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and I was really, really kind of concerned until I watched The Social Network, and then I was all in. I was so in for him as taking on Spider-Man. Just never been a fan of Mark Wahlberg.
My first time I saw Andrew Garfield was in a movie called Boy A, if I remember. It was called Boy A, and I was like, wow, this guy's really emotional. Then from there, I saw 500 Days of Summer, and that's where I fell in love with Mark Webb. I'm like, okay, they got this indie guy, so it's gonna have a lot of heart. And then I started seeing more and more. I ended up watching Social Network, which I was all obsessed over. And I was just like, this works. He was kind of timid in that movie. And then finally, when I saw him at Comic-Con, I was completely sold.
Yeah, that as well.
I was sold. And then when I watched the movie, I loved him. That's actually my favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield. I loved the way he talked. He made fun of everybody. He didn't take anything seriously. He was a typical teenager. He wasn't necessarily a nerd because I don't know what a nerd is anymore.
Yeah.
So, but the way he played everything, it just worked. I really liked this one. Amazing Spider-Man was really good. The script was terrible.
Yes.
But because it was very messy. But I also heard that again, Sony just rewrote this whole thing. They made him reshoot everything. So again, too many cooks in the kitchen. They didn't learn the first time around.
Yeah.
But
so,
overall, this had potential.
Yeah, Spider-Man 1 had a lot of potential. People were in. I mean, when they after saw the movie and stuff, especially because the cast was so good. Like, I forget her name, like Sarah something, whatever, for Aunt May, and Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. Then you had Emma Stone, who's like the breakout pretty much of that movie. Like, she was perfect as Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man 2 for me, again, opening sequence was just not fun at all. That opening scene where he's going after Rhino, I guess if you want to call that guy, Paul Giamatti. Rhino, I don't know why you would use someone as talented as Paul Giamatti in a role like that, but anyway.
As a Transformer?
Yeah, I mean, it was just garbage from the opening sequence, and I just was not into it. And Electro is probably the worst villain I think we've gotten in all the Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. I think he was absolutely the worst. I'm not a big Jamie Foxx fan to begin with, besides Ray.
Django!
Okay, yeah, I'll give you Ray and Django, because Django was really good. But, no, him as Electro was just absolutely horrendous, you know? But, I mean, I don't know. So, right after that, Sony leaks, and Sony, like, this is not and stuff. We started to hear rumbling about, you know, a bunch of different movies that they had planned. You know, starting with, I believe, the female Spider-Man, you know, character.
Sinister Six.
Then followed by Sinister Six. I think Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3.
Venom Carnage.
Oh, yes.
And then I think Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
Which was going to tie everything together.
It's supposed to be 4.
And this was supposed to run to basically, I think, 2018 or 2019 or 2020, essentially. But I don't know. I mean, let's just talk about those plans as a collective whole. I mean, is that what you wanted to see?
For the Sinister Six movie, I was really excited only because it's finally a bad guy-centric movie. So for that. That sounds really cool. I don't know how it would have gone. I think it would just be really hard because everybody was just going to hang out together, like have bad guy AA. And just be like, oh, I hate Spider-Man. Me too. I hate Spider-Man. High five. Again, everybody's high-fiving again. And then the female-centric Spider-Man, everybody wants Spider-Gwen, but I think it was going to be a black cat.
Yeah.
Or like John Smith said, Aunt May movie. So that one I didn't see. Like, I don't see where that could go. Then from there, Spider-Man 3, what they're calling Spider-Man 3, we don't know where it's going. What? Okay, we had the Sinister Six movie, so is that just them teaming up, and then Sinister Six were supposed to fight in the other one? Is it going to team up with Shadowcat or whoever? Oh, he's going to team up with Aunt May? Like, what's going to end up happening?
Yeah.
Then, so I didn't care about that, and then lastly was a. So that was it for Spider-Man 3, right? That's it. So that's it. I didn't care about those. Oh yeah, Venom Carnage. That was the last one. That just sounds awesome. That I was completely for. Cameo by Spider-Man because he's not the main guy. In this
one. Man, I've been waiting for it to see Carnage. Just in general, like, since Spider-Man.
We have the technology.
I know. Since Spider-Man was it? I want to say I don't know. I don't think it was 2. Since Spider-Man 1 on the PlayStation, like the 2000 game. The one before Enter Electro, where you have that.
Is it Doc Ock Spider-Man?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was about to say it's you have the Carnage fight, and then you have the Doc Ock Carnage and stuff. Like, I would have loved to see that.
That was awesome.
That would have been dope, you know. But ever since then, I'm in love with Carnage, and also the animated series, of course. But I wanted that to be treated like a Godzilla versus like a Mecha Godzilla kind of thing. Like like a Godzilla versus Kaiju, like two beasts like coming together.
Which one, Spider-Man in there at all?
Yeah, I wanted him to be more like the opening sequence, you know, kind of to just introduce like him fighting with Carnage and stuff, and then him fighting with Venom, and then suddenly both of them coming after each other. And it's this typical thing, this kind of Freddy versus Jason kind of thing, where it's like you're both going after the same prey. So what happens when two predators go the same prey? They have to kill each other first. So that's where I wanted to lead off, you know.
The Sinister Six, and that's
yeah, even Sinister Six is its own thing, but I was really excited for Drew Goddard directing that stuff. But anyway, I mean, I wanted to see you know, I want to see Garfield up in 2020. I didn't want him to initially to come back to Avengers just yet because I wanted to see this series through. And now, if we get the series, we're not going to get it all until 2025. You know, so I'm happy he's in Avengers, but now let's go for a minute. After Spider-Man 2, we had Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Right? And by then, Marvel has been doing their own thing. They've been crushing it with every movie. Every movie arguably is getting better and better as this thing go on. I mean, Guardians.
What would you say after which one?
After which movie?
Yeah.
Probably after Avengers.
Okay. Because the only one I have a problem with in the MCU is Iron Man 2.
I have a lot of problems. I don't like Iron Man 2. I don't like Iron Man 3. I don't like Thor 1. I'm very picky with the movies, but they're just getting better. I'm so hyped for Ragnarok, even though I didn't like the other Thor movies. I'm really hyped for Civil War, although I didn't like the first one. I love Winter Soldier though.
Yeah.
Guardians also is probably my favorite right now of all the MCU. But anyway, so I mean, we know Marvel's been crushing it. They have a really, really good team over there. And then we started the other rumblings of like, can Spider-Man come, you know, for Civil War? Like, will he be in it and stuff? We already knew that he was a major part of the comics and stuff. Yep. But then, you know, they dropped the bomb of Phase 3. You know, we got Black Panther is coming. Black Panther's gonna be a Civil War.
Yep.
So we thought it was a done deal. It's like Spider-Man is not coming. And then suddenly,
so then the leaks happened, and then the leaks still left us in the middle. It just said that they were talking, and then boom, we actually got the confirmation that Spider-Man's there. So Spider-Man being in the MCU is interesting because they actually prioritize them a lot, and they moved every other movie. Except for I think up until Infinity War. Then from there they kind of just mix it all up.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. Now we have what is it? Something Watts, John Watts.
Yes.
So we have John Watts, who is still a movie we haven't seen, which is Cop Car. And then we have Tom Holland, which I don't know at all. Like, I've seen pictures of him. I know he was in a movie, I think it was Maze Runner. I still don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it. But his movie is just, he's really young. They're going to make this into a John Hughes movie, which is just different. So I don't know where this is going. I kind of still want, I still miss Andrew Garfield. I still miss Andrew Garfield.
I did too. I'm just seeing red flags everywhere, but I mean, I'm just gonna give the benefit of the doubt that again, like he admitted, like because he's young, because he's just turned 18, so that's the perfect age that you want for Spider-Man. As long as, because I don't want to see him in college for a while. Like I want it to grow. Like remember in the anime series, you know, he was in college for at least like a year or 2 years. You know? Then he went into high school. Then he went into college for like he was there for like 3 years. You know. And then suddenly he got out and started working, and he got married to Mary Jane and stuff. Like I want to see that progression, you know, not just him just, you know, you can even do Gwen Stacy for 30 minutes of Spider-Man if you really wanted to. I don't know, but I want to see the progression stuff. But overall, I mean, there's a lot of red flags. I'm not sure this director's gonna be able to live up to the name of Spider-Man. You know,
it's Marvel.
But that's the thing, right? That's what we're really banking on is this Marvel team hopefully can create something very special. Like as long as they. I want them to focus more on the villains and stuff. We've seen so much we have 5 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, and really soon together.
The less that Tom Holland talks, the better. Because we've already had a lot of Spider-Man, and unless it's Andrew Garfield, then I want less Spider-Man. I want to have more about build up Doc Ock, build up Mysterio. Like that's a very tricky villain to pull off. So bring up Mysterio, bring up the Vulture, like Kraven. Very complicated villain to portray and stuff. So that's what I want to see more than anything.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, name only one. One can exist. Favorite Spider-Man?
Favorite Spider-Man?
Movies. In the movies.
Oh, favorite movie.
Actor that plays Spider-Man. There you go.
Oh, actor. I mean, actor is Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Although I have a spot for Tobey Maguire because that was like the beginning. I love Spider-Man 1. I think I would have to say.
So favorite Spider-Man, favorite actor.
Oh, it's a favorite movie? Favorite actor? So my favorite actor, like I said, is definitely Andrew Garfield. But, you know, my favorite movie for right now, I'm going to go ahead and say Spider-Man, the original.
Okay. So for me, it's obviously Andrew Garfield, and my favorite is Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2? Okay.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, so we like those movies better.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because Andrew Garfield put him over there. I don't know. We could have just mixed this whole thing up, made a cocktail. So that would have been nice. And then this is just we have to hope. Have to just be happy for Marvel and hope that it do well.
Yeah, one day I want Civil War to be good at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out and stuff. But thank you guys again for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to Goodbye Deli to keep up with all film updates and film news, especially regarding Spider-Man and Marvel.